Born in 1949 into the harsh realities of colonial Upper Volta, young Thomas Sankara did not grow up in a palace of wealth. Instead, he lived among the red dust and the daily struggles of the hardworking, forgotten poor. Seeking a way to serve his people and find his place in a changing world, he joined the military. But Thomas was never going to be a typical soldier who just followed orders without questioning the status quo. While his peers slept, Sankara consumed the words of revolutionaries. He spent his nights studying history, philosophy, and the mechanics of power, fueled by a growing desire to see his people rise from centuries of colonial shadow. Beyond the uniform, there lived a man of rhythm and soul. As the lead guitarist for Tout Coup Jazz, he played with a passion that mirrored his politics, proving that a true revolutionary must also understand the heart's music. In 1974, the border war with Mali tested his resolve. On the front lines of the Agashur Strip, Sankara proved his mettle, leading his troops with a unique combination of tactical brilliance and a deep, unwavering courage. He returned from the battlefield not just as a decorated officer, but as a genuine national hero. The people of Upper Volta saw in him a new kind of leader, one who was brave, charismatic, and remarkably human. The country was restless, stifled by corruption and the lingering ghost of colonial rule. Sankara began to speak out, his voice echoing the frustrations of the masses who were tired of being hungry while their leaders grew fat. He was a man caught between two worlds, the discipline of the army and the freedom of the arts. This duality gave him the vision to see a future that no one else dared to imagine for his nation. By 1982, the stage was set for a transformation. The soldier with the guitar was no longer just a musician or a hero of war. He was becoming the spark that would soon set a continent on fire. In 1983, the charismatic soldier was appointed prime minister. But Sankara refused to play the game of the elite. He used his platform to champion the poor, terrifying the corrupt establishment with his radical, pro-people vision for a new Africa. His honesty was seen as a threat. The government, desperate to cling to power, ordered his arrest and imprisonment. They hoped to silence him, but they only succeeded in turning a popular leader into a powerful symbol of national resistance. The streets of the capital erupted in fury. From the slums to the schools, the people rose up to demand the release of their leader. This wasn't just a protest, it was the birth of a collective consciousness. In the dead of night, Sankara's closest friend and comrade, Blaise Compaoré, gathered a band of loyal soldiers. They knew the risks, but they were bound by a shared destiny to break the chains that held their brother and their nation. On August 4, 1983, the silence of the night was shattered. A swift and decisive coup was launched to liberate the imprisoned leader. At just 33 years old, Thomas Sankara was pulled from his cell and thrust back into the light. The reunion was a moment of pure triumph. Sankara and Compaoré stood together as the architects of a new era. At that moment, they were more than just soldiers, they were the heartbeat of a nation that was finally waking up. As dawn broke, Sankara's voice crackled across every radio in the country. He didn't just announce a change in leadership, he declared a democratic and popular revolution. The era of the corrupt elite was over, and the era of the citizen had begun. He sought to strip away every last vestige of colonial rule. He renamed the country Burkina Faso, which means, the land of upright men. It was a psychological revolution, intended to restore pride and dignity to a broken people. Sankara didn't want to be a king, he wanted to be a catalyst. He handed the keys of the country back to its citizens, inviting every man, woman, and child to join him in the grueling but glorious task of nation building. To build a future, the past had to be dismantled. Sankara looked at the name Upper Volta and saw only a colonial label given by outsiders. He knew that as long as they kept the name, they kept the chains of their masters. In 1984, he bestowed a gift upon his people, a new name: Burkina Faso. It was a bold declaration to the world that this was now the land of incorruptible people, where dignity was the only currency that mattered to the citizens. The revolution needed a song. Instead of hiring a composer, Sankara took his guitar and wrote the national anthem himself. Every note was crafted to stir the blood and remind every citizen that they were the masters of their own destiny. He designed a new flag to fly over the land. Red for the blood of the martyrs, green for the agricultural wealth of the earth, and a yellow star to guide the people toward the light of progress and unity. This wasn't just a change on paper, it was a psychological rebirth. From the smallest villages to the bustling streets of the capital, the message was clear: the era of subservience was over, and the era of pride had officially begun. He challenged every citizen to live up to the country's new name. To be upright meant to refuse bribes, to work hard, and to put the needs of the community above the selfish desires of the individual or the elite. Sankara understood that the hardest chains to break are the ones in the mind. By changing the symbols of the state, he was teaching an entire generation to stop looking toward Europe for validation and to start looking at one another. Across the nation, a new identity was taking root. People who had been told they were nothing were now being told they were the upright men. This shift in spirit was the foundation upon which he would build his radical reforms. With the name, the flag, and the anthem secured, the stage was set. Thomas Sankara had given his people a name they could be proud of. Now, he would lead them in a struggle to prove they were truly worthy of it. Thomas Sankara knew that true independence was impossible as long as the nation relied on foreign crumbs. He famously declared that he who feeds you, controls you. He boldly rejected international aid, choosing instead the difficult path of total self-reliance. Without heavy machinery or foreign loans, he launched the Battle of the Railroad. Tens of thousands of citizens volunteered their strength, laying miles of steel tracks with their bare hands, proving that a united people could move mountains through sheer collective will. In a feat that stunned the world, Sankara oversaw the vaccination of 2.5 million children in just 1 week. Polio, measles, and meningitis were pushed back as the revolution prioritized the lives of the youngest citizens over all else. To save the land, he fought the desert. Sankara launched a massive reforestation program, planting over 10 million trees to stop the Sahara's advance. Every wedding and every public event was celebrated by planting a tree, turning the dust green. He shattered the old feudal systems that kept farmers in debt. By redistributing land from wealthy landlords to the people who actually worked the soil, Sankara ensured that those who sweated for the harvest were the ones who finally owned it. Water was the lifeblood of his revolution. Across the countryside, simple yet effective irrigation systems were built using local materials. This allowed the upright men to grow food year-round, regardless of the unpredictable rains that had once meant certain starvation. The results were nothing short of a miracle. In just a few years, Burkina Faso went from a starving nation to one that could feed itself and even export food. The land was finally providing for its children without a cent of debt. To protect local industry, he ordered all government officials to wear traditional cotton clothes woven by Burkinabe hands. He wanted the world to see that his people were not just consumers of foreign goods, but creators of their own destiny. By 1987, the transformation was undeniable. Burkina Faso had become a beacon of hope for the entire continent. Sankara had proven that with integrity and hard work, an African nation didn't need the West to thrive, it only needed its people. Thomas Sankara famously declared that the revolution could not triumph without the liberation of women. He viewed women not as domestic servants, but as the other half of the sky, essential to the survival and the soaring progress of the new Burkina Faso. He took a bold stand against centuries of tradition by outlawing female genital mutilation. It was a dangerous political move, but Sankara refused to compromise on the physical integrity and the human rights of the girls and women of his nation. Forced marriages and polygamy were banned under his leadership. He believed that a society built on the oppression of women within the home could never be truly free. He fought to ensure that every woman had the right to choose her own destiny. Sankara didn't just talk about equality, he practiced it. He appointed women to the highest levels of his cabinet and the military, positions that had been strictly reserved for men since the beginning of colonial rule and even before then. To open the eyes of the nation, he declared a day of solidarity. He encouraged men to take over the domestic chores, going to the market, carrying water, and cooking, so they could finally understand the grueling reality of a woman's daily labor. He launched massive literacy campaigns specifically targeting rural women. Sankara knew that an educated woman was the greatest threat to poverty and the strongest foundation for a prosperous family. He made sure school was a right, not a male privilege. He integrated women into the committees for the defense of the revolution, training them in self-defense and leadership. He wanted every woman to be a soldier of the revolution, capable of defending her country and her own newfound rights. Maternal health became a national priority. By providing better healthcare and nutrition, the revolution drastically reduced infant mortality rates. Sankara saw the health of a mother as the ultimate indicator of the health and the success of the entire nation. Through these radical reforms, Sankara began to weave a new social fabric. He proved that true revolution is found in the home as much as the streets, creating a legacy of gender equality that was decades ahead of its time. Sankara looked at the luxury cars of the previous regime and saw the hunger of his people. In a shocking move, he sold off the government's entire fleet of expensive Mercedes-Benz cars, declaring that the nation's wealth belonged to the citizens, not the ministers. He replaced the luxury sedans with the Renault 5, the cheapest car available in Burkina Faso. It became the official service vehicle for all government officials, including the president himself, ensuring that leaders lived no better than the people they served. He refused to use the air conditioning in his office, even in the blistering heat of the Sahel. He argued that it was an insult to his people, most of whom lived without electricity. If the people were hot, the president would be hot too. Sankara lowered his own salary to just $450 a month, making him the poorest president in the world. He owned no land, no villas, and no secret bank accounts, only a few guitars, some bicycles, and a deep love for his nation. In 1984, he took his message to the world stage at the United Nations. He spoke for the great disinherited of the world, challenging the global powers and demanding a new international order based on justice rather than exploitation and greed. He became the fiercest critic of debt slavery. Sankara argued that Africa's debts were a colonial trap designed to keep the continent in a state of permanent poverty. He famously told other African leaders, "If we don't pay, our creditors won't die." His words sent shivers through the halls of power. By refusing to pay back colonial-era debts, he was challenging the entire global financial system. He was a lone voice calling for a united African front against the modern face of imperialism. He walked the streets without the massive security details used by other dictators. His protection, he said, was his people. This radical accessibility made him a hero to the youth, but it also made him an easy target for those who wished him harm. His refusal to bow to foreign interests made him the most dangerous man in Africa to the old colonial powers. As he stood firm against the world's banks, a conspiracy was already beginning to form in the shadows, fueled by fear and foreign gold. The revolution had made powerful enemies. Foreign powers and local elites, threatened by Sankara's success, began to plot in the dark. They couldn't defeat his ideas in the open, so they turned to the shadows to find a way to stop the upright man. The ultimate sting came from within. Blaise Compaoré, the man Sankara called his brother and his best friend, had been corrupted by ambition and foreign influence. The bond that had liberated the nation was now being sharpened into a blade for its destruction. On the afternoon of October 15, 1987, the peace was shattered. As Sankara sat in a meeting with his advisors, a group of armed men led by his closest allies surrounded the building. The air grew thick with the heavy scent of an impending tragedy. Understanding the situation, Sankara showed his final act of bravery. He told his aides to stay back, saying, "It is me they want." He walked out to meet his assassins with his head held high, choosing to face death rather than hide from his destiny. A hail of bullets cut through the air, ending the life of the 37-year-old visionary. In a single moment of betrayal, the land of upright men lost its greatest champion. The man was gone, but the ground he bled upon would never forget his name. Compaoré took power, but he could not bury the truth. Sankara was dumped in a shallow, unmarked grave in a desperate attempt to erase him from history. They thought that by killing the dreamer, they could finally kill the dream itself. They were wrong. You cannot bury a seed and expect it not to grow. The news of his death didn't silence his message, it turned Thomas Sankara into a martyr. Across the continent, a new generation began to breathe life into his radical ideas once again. A movement known as Sankarism was born. From the streets of Ouagadougou to the hearts of the youth in Dakar and Nairobi, his words became a blueprint for a new Africa, one that refuses to beg and dares to invent its own future. Thomas Sankara's physical life was short, but his legacy is eternal. He remains a beacon for those who dream of an Africa that is proud, independent, and truly free. The soldier with the guitar still plays the song of the revolution in every heart that yearns for justice.
If this story mattered, don't let it disappear. Like the video, subscribe, and help us preserve history. This is Griot Archive.